Hi there, my name is Brianne Busboom. I am a teacher and I'm here to talk to you about AI assisted lesson planning. I have found that AI can really help me as a teacher and you as a teacher to decrease your workload. So let's jump in and I'll tell you a little bit more about this process and how you can learn how to lesson plan using AI. So let's jump in and talk about why I personally like using AI to help me in my classroom as a professional. I have found that when there's so much that is constantly being put on educators' plates, this is something that can actually help remove something from teachers' plates. It can lighten your teacher load. And honestly, we need that. So it has been so nice. I kind of feel like I can actually breathe again because I have a tool that is assisting me to be successful in my job. It has increased my productivity and it's inspired me to have new ideas and to have some new creative viewpoints. And I really have enjoyed having that joy again in lesson planning. So remember, of course, I think it's important for me to mention that AI cannot and should not replace your professional knowledge as an educator. And so it is always, of course, required that you make sure you go through the materials that AI creates and check for accuracy and check for proper materials to make sure that what you are getting and what you are giving to your students is what it should be. So let's jump in. Today, we're going to talk about how to use AI to plan engaging lessons. We're going to understand how to adjust the prompts that we put into AI to make the content that is put out better. And we're going to begin creating materials for your courses. So we're going to jump in. Here's our learning path. I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT, what it is, the benefits of lesson planning with AI, the steps that you would use to lesson plan. We're going to make an example plan together. I'm going to give you some tips, and then we'll talk a little bit about challenges and limitations using AI. If you are interested, I have a handout that you are welcome to scan here. Here's a QR code. It will take you to a handout that gives you information to assist you in your process of lesson planning using ChatGPT. Let's move forward. So, an intro to ChatGPT. I am just a teacher, and frankly, I am not able to explain to you in great detail how ChatGPT works. I know there's other videos that you can find that out, but essentially, it's a language model where you will enter in prompts and it will search the web and find results that go along with what you asked it to do. So you will put commands in, and some of the common functions that are being used with ChatGPT include answering questions, drafting emails, holding conversations back and forth, or even I know I've heard of a lot of teachers and administrators using it to help write letters of recommendation. So some of the benefits of using ChatGPT for lesson planning, that can include time saving. As educators, we never have enough time, so saving that time is one of the biggest benefits. We can personalize the learning journey for our students. It can give us new ideas, and we can even learn how to differentiate, which there will be a different video about differentiation using AI. So, lesson planning with ChatGPT, how do we jump in and do this? The first step is that we need to identify our learning objectives. Just like if we were lesson planning not using AI, we need to know what the learning objective is, what the state standard is, and then from there, we will move forward and create a lesson based on that. So we will enter keywords and prompts into the ChatGPT's little text box. And these keywords and prompts will help us make sure that we are engineering that prompt in a way that we get the results that we want. Step three is to review the generated content. Not everything that is created is quality, and you need to adjust it to make it what you need. And then step four, we keep refining and keep editing it as we need. So let's create an example lesson plan using ChatGPT. In this example, I'm just going to be using the free version of ChatGPT. So I'll change it back into the Chat 3.5. This is what the free account would use. And I'm going to enter in a prompt. So normally I would have a state standard that I might plug in, but I just want to show you maybe a sample of how we can create a lesson plan using ChatGPT. So we're going to pretend that we are a world history class in the state of Utah and that we are teaching about the Latin American revolutions. So I'm going to ask it and give it a very specific prompt to learn how to do this. So, for example, create a lesson plan for a 10th grade world history class in Utah about the Latin American Revolution. And we're just going to see what it pops up with. It's usually pretty quick, and that's one of the nice things about it. But what I have found is that sometimes it can be content overload. Sometimes there's so much, and you have to sift through it to see what is quality, what you actually want to use, and what you might need to adjust. So looking through here, we've got title, The Latin American Revolution, Struggles for Independence, grade level 10th, world history, and this is going to take 3 class periods that are about 45 minutes each. It gives me some objectives that I can work with, and if I plugged in the state standard, it would be more specific towards those state standards. Here's some materials that I need. So it's asking me to have some maps of Latin America, some textbooks or online resources, a handout of key events and figures, some writing materials, and multimedia resources. I will tell you right now that I will revisit this materials section in just a minute to have it actually create this handout that is saying that we need. So on day one, it looks like it's telling us to have an introduction. It gives us an estimated amount of time that this might take, and then it gives us some information here. So begin the lesson by asking students what they know about Latin America and its history. Discuss any prior knowledge or misconceptions. This isn't a horrible way to start, but perhaps I want something a little bit more engaging. I'm going to ask it to rewrite the introduction to be more engaging. Rewrite the introduction of this lesson to be more engaging. We'll just see what it comes up with. Oh, it's reworded everything. Let's embark on a journey to a land of rich culture, vibrant history, and monumental change. I'm liking it. It's buying, I'm buying in already. This may not be what you want. Maybe I want it to be an engaging activity. So I will ask it to make the introduction into a short, engaging activity. Let's just see what it comes up with. All right, so now I actually have an activity. I could just ask them the question that it gave to me, or maybe I'm going to actually use this activity where I have a slip of paper and I'm introducing this topic with a brief overview. I give a little bit of information about the history, and then I'm asking them to write down a quote related to revolution, freedom, or something like that. So I might do an opener to engage students by asking them to find a quote related to revolution, freedom, etc., or what it means to them. And so now I've got a different idea that goes a little bit deeper, or just it uses different skills perhaps than that first opener it created. So now that I've done my introduction to the lesson, it looks like there's going to be a map activity. I'm supposed to provide students with maps of Latin America before the revolution and ask them to identify major colonial powers and their territories. So I could find this online. I could ask it to pull up a website that might have it, etc. So I could do that. For the lecture and discussion, it says present an overview of the causes of the Latin American Revolution, including, and then it lists what we would have. Let's pretend I don't have any of this. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to ask it to create this lecture outline. And I'm going to paste in what I just copied and we'll see what it comes up with. So it's creating an outline that I would use as a PowerPoint to go through it with my students. You may not want to teach it in a lecture format, but this is just one option and you can adjust it as needed. So it looks like I would start with an introduction, then maybe I'd move into social inequalities, etc. Let's pretend I need more information on the hierarchical social structure in colonial Latin America. I can ask it to give me that information, and then it will pop out that information for me. And I can ask it to give me the exact information that I would then copy and paste into my slides. Or I could use another AI to actually create this PowerPoint as well. And I can show you that in another video. So now I've got my lecture outline. Maybe I'm liking where it's going. Maybe I'm going to use some of it. Maybe I need a little more information. If I need more information, I just ask it to create that. I'll go back up into the original information that it gave. And now it wants me to talk about key figures and events. and it will have me do that by talking about their roles. Let's pretend that I want this to be an interactive gallery walk activity. I might take this information and I will say, create a gallery walk activity for students using this information. So I'm still using, it didn't say anything about gallery walks. I am using my professional expertise to say, I want students up and moving now. We had a lecture, we had a section where they were learning about that, and I want them up and moving. So I used my professional knowledge to say, okay, it's time to get them up. Let's do a gallery walk. And now I'll paste in that information it is going to need to use. Okay, so it shows me the materials I need, how to set it up, the instructions for the students, and then it will say, let's see, I need it to actually create the, it says prior to the activity, create posters or displays for each key figure. I need it to create that. So create the information for the posters for each key figure mentioned. And we'll just see what it pops up with. I need to fine tune it to make sure that it's giving me what I am asking it for and that I am getting the information that I need. Ah, perfect. Okay. So for one example, if I'm talking about Simon Bolivar, I can get a picture of him. I can then put in his role in the revolution and his significance. And maybe students need to fill out a handout while they're doing this. So I'm going to say, create a handout for this gallery walk assignment. And we'll see what it pops up with. May need fine tuning. All right. So I may format this differently in my actual assignment, but it's given me some basic information where maybe I would have a blank spot where I would have Simon Bolivar and then I would ask them to fill in his role in the revolution and his significance. But then what I like here are these discussion prompts for the entire gallery walk. So maybe they're learning about each different revolutionary person in this Latin American Revolution assignment, and then afterwards, they need to really unpack what they're learning. This could be a discussion prompt that they are discussing as small groups, as partners. You could do a jigsaw activity. You could have them enter this on a discussion post itself rather than in like actually talking. You could have them answer on a flip video. You could have them do it however you want it done, but it gives me some good discussion prompts. And if I want more, let's say I really want them to really unpack this experience, all I have to do is ask it to create more discussion prompts, and it will create more that I can fine tune. Let's pretend that I am satisfied with all of this. I will take this information. I will then pull it in, create the worksheets as needed. If you need to copy something from ChatGPT, all you have to do is press this little copy button and then you paste it onto a Word document and then you're good to go. So this is just an example of how I might proceed to go through a topic and create a lesson using ChatGPT. Remember, you are the expert. You know what students need. You should always check the information that's given, but this is really just giving me an outline. If I need it to pull information, I can, and then I can fact check everything. So let me go back into our presentation and we will finish up soon. So here's some lesson planning tips when it comes to using ChatGPT. Use specific keywords and prompts to get more targeted results. The more specific your prompt can be for ChatGPT, usually the better outcome you're going to have. And if you don't get what you want, you need to fine tune it so that you are getting the results you want. So review the content carefully to make sure that what you get is accurate and that it's relevant to what you're talking about. And then edit it to your style of teaching. This is just a tool to save you time, and your style of teaching, you can help it by molding it into something that you would use, and use your personality and your teaching style to make it come to life. So challenges and limitations, these are some things that we should keep in mind as we are lesson planning with ChatGPT. It can be information overload. Sometimes you get so much information or so many ideas from ChatGPT, it can be difficult to know what is quality material, what should I have it fix and make better. Is this really showing the best material that I could be giving to students, and maybe you need to change it. So it's really something that you should look at quality versus quantity and adjust it as needed. The results that are generated always need fine tuning. So you know best what your students need. You know if the content is engaging. And if it's not giving you something engaging, ask it to regenerate and give it some specific guidelines if needed. Um, and then some things that you might want to consider too is if it's detailed enough to immediately roll out and implement. Sometimes you need to ask it to recreate something and give it more detail so that it rolls out and you can immediately implement it in your classroom. I've seen this to be the case with handouts and activities. Sometimes you just need to make sure that it's ready to go by asking it the proper questions to make sure it's detailed enough to roll out so that students don't have too many questions. And then obviously, we should always keep the ethics of AI in mind as we are creating materials, citing our sources where needed. And the ethics is always an important concept. And we are still figuring out what this looks like, but we should keep it in mind. So, in conclusion, AI can be an awesome way to help you better your teaching craft. And I really encourage you to use it to get better at it. It's a skill. This is a skill that we will one day be teaching our students so they know how to use AI. And we might as well start with it and see what we can do and how it can better our lives. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.